Welcome to the Alexandra Show and my ongoing series of videos about angels and specifically archangels. And today I want to speak to you about one of my favorite archangels of all time. I want to speak to you today about Archangel Ariel. Ariel is known as the Lioness or the Lion of God, and a bit like Archangel Michael, Ariel is a protector. Ariel can bring you courage and strength when you need a little bit of extra fortification. If you're feeling a little bit vulnerable, you can call on this angel and invoke her or his energy. Angels don't have sexuality as such. They're neither masculine or feminine, although some of them we will associate more with a more masculine or feminine vibration. And I like to see Ariel as a feminine vibration, but that angel can come through as a masculine kind of warrior angel at times. To me, Ariel was always there from the minute I opened up to the angels. I didn't actually know there was an archangel called Ariel, although I was always drawn to the name Ariel throughout my whole life. I studied poetry, and my favorite poet was Sylvia Plath, and my favorite book of her poetry was called Ariel. I was always drawn to The Little Mermaid. I loved the name Ariel from The Little Mermaid. And but when I started to explore the realm of the angels, I did a meditation to ask who my guardian angel was, to try to connect with who I thought was my guardian angel. And the name I was given during that meditation was Ariel. And I thought, well, is there an angel called Ariel? And, I went on a search engine, probably Google or something like that, because I always hear things. I'm quite clairaudient. So I heard this name in my meditation. I thought, who is Ariel? And then I Googled it and I was like, oh my gosh, this angel is with me. I had no idea there was even an angel called Ariel. Now I've since written a children's book called Dear Little Angels. Ariel is the first. It's a series of children's books. The first one is out now and it's available on Amazon. But there's more of these books coming on the various different archangels. And with the help of my beautiful friend, Gemma Bliss, who's an amazing illustrator and yogi and Kundalini yoga teacher. But I have an amazing story about Ariel to share with you. And many, many years ago, I was on holiday in Turkey. And I was with a really close friend of mine, Steve. And I just kind of started to explore the realm of angels. I was really getting into my angels. I had loads of angel oracle cards. I'd started to collect oracle cards. I was dabbling in doing angel readings. I don't think at this stage I'd trained in any angel healing as such. But I was starting to explore the world of angels. I was spreading my wings, stretching my wings. And Steve and I went on holiday to Turkey, and we were staying in a place called Fethiye, beautiful place in Turkey. And we went to Aludines beach for the day, and it was about 40 degrees. It was really, really hot. Now, I have a fear of heights. It's something that I've always had. I don't know, maybe I had a past life where I fell from a great height. I don't know. I can't explain it. I get vertigo even standing on a chair. I'm not very good if there's no railing or anything. But for some crazy reason, on this particular holiday, Steve decided he was going to go paragliding, and I decided, well, it's too hot for me to sit on the beach for 2 hours waiting for him, so hang it, I'm going to go paragliding too. It was probably a bit of a silly idea, but we signed up for it, and it was actually it wasn't paragliding off the back of a boat, it was jumping off a mountain. So I was going to be running towards a cliff edge. Really intelligent decision. So Steve and I, we got teamed up. It was tandem paragliding, and but my guide didn't speak any English. Steve actually spoke Turkish at the time because he'd lived there. And we got in the back of the truck, which was an open air truck, and we were each given our own parachute to hold on to. So we're sitting in the back of this open air truck with seats facing each other, holding on to our parachutes, going up this bumpy dirt road. And as we were driving up the mountain, the road got bumpier and rockier. And then whole swathes of the road had washed away. It wasn't really a road. It was more just like we were driving up this dirt track. And obviously you have sheer cliffs on either side. But the driver of the truck wasn't exactly being very careful, and he was swerving all over the place, fishtailing around bends, and he was flooring it. And I am, a bit nervous about driving as well, especially up big cliffs where I'm afraid of heights. So I was getting quite nervous. So the first thing I did was I called on Archangel Michael, and then I thought, well, I should call on Archangel Ariel, because she's quite close to me. I feel like she's perhaps one of my guardian archangels, if that's possible. And so the first thing I did was I called on Archangel Ariel, please protect me, please give me courage. And at the moment I did that, I looked up and I noticed on the back of the cab of the driver's section of the truck was a bumper sticker, and the bumper sticker had a pair of wings and the slogan, "Spread your wings," written underneath the wings. And I went, oh, amazing, I've just asked for angelic help. Here's my sign from Archangel Ariel that she's with me. So I sort of started to relax after that, but then things kind of went from bad to worse. The road got worse, the road got bumpier, I started to feel a bit sick. Then on top of the driver's cab was where the spare tyre was kept, and there was one metal bar holding this huge spare tyre in place. And it was only held in place by a small pin. And we went over a massive bump, and the pin came loose, and the metal bar swung out, and I had to duck because it nearly chopped my head off. And the bar swung out, and the next thing I know, the tyre on top of the cab starts moving out of its position. And the tyre was huge. And if the tyre had actually flown out, it might have hit one of us. We might have gone flying out the back of the truck, and one of us might have, who knows what might have happened. But it was a bit of a disaster waiting to happen. But my friend Steve was straight on his feet and holding the tyre in place, and it was actually quite hilarious. He had his parachute wrapped around his ankle, so he didn't let go of that, and he was stood up for the rest of the journey, hanging on to this tyre to stop the tyre from flying out. And by the time we got to the top of the mountain ready to do the parachute, I was like, there's no backing out now, because I'm not getting back in that truck and going back down the mountain that way. So I decided, and I was pretty Bambi-legged at the time. I was shaking from head to toe. I felt really ill. I felt very weak and very nervous. And the next thing I know, I'm strapped to this man, but he's behind me. And this other man comes up and straps the parachute in, and I don't know what's happening. I'm feeling weak as water. And this other man shouts at me. There's no safety regulations. There was no here's what you do if X, Y, and Z goes wrong. I suppose there is no plan B. But the guy shouts at me, when I say run, you run, and you do not sit down. And he straps me in and he goes, run! And I look up, and then all I could see is the edge of this cliff, and I felt like I was running to my doom. So I start running, but my legs were so weak that they went from beneath me, and before I know it, I'm pulled off my feet, sitting in this parachute. The parachute starts filling with air, and the guy comes running over to me again, grabs me, picks me up, stands me back on my feet, and says, don't sit down, run! So I'm having to run. I've got the 6'4" George Clooney behind me, strapped to me, running towards the edge. And I thought we were just going to plop over the edge, thinking, I am going to die. We are literally going to fall over the edge of this cliff, and I'm going to die. But as we got to the cliff, I didn't actually reach the edge of the cliff. The chute filled with air, and we sailed off. And then the guide behind me said, okay, you can sit down now. And I sat back in the harness, and we drifted over Lioness Beach. And it's this, if you've ever been, it's this stunning turquoise crescent of a beach. It's really beautiful, and at that point I sat down and I really felt like I was flying, and I could really feel the presence of Archangel Ariel with me. I suddenly got all my courage, I got all my strength, and I thought, oh my god, I've just faced a massive fear. I'm terrified of heights, and I just literally ran off the edge of a mountain and flew. And it felt like such a symbol, those times in your life where you have a big decision to make and you're terrified of facing that decision, and you feel like you're running towards the cliff edge, and you have to literally trust that you won't fall, that you will fly. It was like the actual physical, metaphorical situation of that, and I felt like I had gone through a kind of an initiation, and I felt very proud of myself. So I sat back and I enjoyed the view, and I had this wonderful experience. And then we came in after about 20 minutes to land, and we landed, and I got out of my chute, and I turned around to my friend Steve, and I was like, oh my god, that was amazing, that was incredible. And I saw that he was really shaken, and he was really quite distressed. And then we found out that he proceeded to tell me that the minute he had taken off, he'd jumped after me. The minute he'd taken off, he saw that one of the carabiners on his chute hadn't been done up. It was literally, the chute was hanging like this, like a thread, by a thread. And if that part of the chute had come undone, obviously the whole thing would have collapsed and they would have plummeted. And he noticed, that as soon as they took off, he noticed. Thankfully, he could speak Turkish, and he said to his guide, "Oh my God, that's open." And the guy, they have these handles where they drive the chute. The Turkish guy, put his hand around the carabiner and held it in place. And he said, "Steve, I learnt to fly this thing in 2 days, and you're going to learn in 2 seconds. Reach up, and you're going to steer your chute." So Steve had to steer his own parachute in to land on the beach. And so by the time he landed, I think his legs were more jelly than mine had been. So both of us, it felt like, in many ways, both of us had cheated death that day. And I'm so sure that it was Archangel Ariel that was present. And then when we returned to London after that holiday, I got all the evidence that I needed. And I would often walk to work. I lived in Hackney and I worked in London Bridge, so it would take me about an hour to walk to work on a summer's day, and it was summer, so I took off walking to work that morning, and on my walk I used to walk through Smithfield Market, and I found that there was a little spiritual shop that had opened. I went in, and the first thing I thought was, oh, new oracle cards, and I picked up, they were Doreen Virtue Archangel oracle cards, and it's a pink box, like a hot pink box. Anyway, I opened the box, at the tester box, and I pulled out the little book, and I just flicked it open, and the first page that it opened at just blew my mind, and it was Archangel Ariel, and the message underneath Archangel Ariel was "spread your wings." And the first thing I thought of was that bumper sticker on the back of the cab when I'd initially asked for help. And I knew then, with every fiber of my being, that Archangel Ariel had protected me and Steve that day. Both of us had been through some kind of cheating death initiation experience. Both of us had faced huge fears and virtually stared death in the face, both with me nearly having my head chopped off with the tire coming loose, and him, the parachute not being properly done up. And I've had many experiences in my life where I have come close to an experience. Either I've been in a place before a disaster has happened or shortly after, and I always have the same message, that I'm always protected, and with the angels around, especially Ariel, I feel that I am. So this is another way of working with the angels. It's about faith, it's about trust, it's about knowing that from the split second you have the intention to call on an angel, they are there. One of the ways you can work with Archangel Ariel is just to ask her to be with you and ask her to bring you courage and strength. But the other thing about Archangel Ariel that not too many people are really aware of is that she is the angel of nature spirits. And she's very connected to the fairy realm. She's very connected to the magic of the fairy realm, the nature spirits, the unicorns. And so whenever you're in nature, call on Archangel Ariel. She will work with you. She will help your flowers grow. She will she'll help to make the planet more beautiful. If you want to pray for people to be more aware of Mother Nature, of Gaia, to put their rubbish in the bin and to clean up the planet and to have more honor for the planet, more respect for nature, you can call on Archangel Ariel to help with that. And likewise, if there are any places on the planet, perhaps there's a place that's in drought that needs rain, you can call on her to work with the sylphs or the air spirits, or to work with the water spirits to help bring more nurturance to that area. She works very closely with the elements and with the elementals, does Ariel. So see what you can experience in your own relationship with Archangel Ariel when you call on her. She's a really gentle when she needs to be, but she can also come with a real fiery fierceness when she needs to be. And it is like a lioness. It is like a mother protecting her cubs. I feel Ariel can be quite quite strongly associated with other Leonine gods, goddesses, and beings. So quite connected with Lyra, the beings from Lyra, and quite connected with the goddess Sekhmet, the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet, that fierce lioness energy. And sometimes that compassion can be quite ruthless. So if you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, if you're not on your path, Ariel might also give you a kick up the bum to get you moving, to get you moving in the direction that you're supposed to be in. So if you ask her to help shift your life in the right direction, she will. It might not always be gentle, but if you're willing to harness your own courage, your own inner courage and strength, which is one of the main qualities that Ariel works with, she will get you on that path quick smart. So, but she will protect you while she's doing it. She'll make sure that you feel safe while you're going through anything. So I hope you've enjoyed my video on Archangel Ariel. As I've said in other videos, angels can't help you unless you ask. They don't have free will. And by working with Ariel, you are actually invoking your own qualities of divine courage and strength. Don't forget that there is nothing outside of you. So this particular angel is a brilliant one to work with for harnessing your own bravery, your own inner strength, your own courage. And if you are about to face anything that makes you feel a bit nervous, Ariel is a great one to call on. So thank you so much for watching this video on Archangel Ariel.